A Letter to God is a story written by G.L.FUENTES. It revolves around the idea of having unquestionable belief in something that is beyond doubt. The story is set in a Latin American country. Lencho, the main protagonist of the story, the main character, the farmer. He writes a letter to God, seeking help from the Almighty after discovering his entire crop yield destroyed by a devastating hailstorm that destroys it completely, and he is very upset. Although his wishes get fulfilled, but partially, he is ungrateful in the end, and he questions the honesty and the modesty of the postmasters who actually helped him with money in the name of God. Lencho, the farmer. He lived on the only house that was there on the top of a hill. From there, a river and a ready to harvest cornfield were visible. The field belonged to Lencho, and he had the utmost confidence that the harvest would reap great profits. The only thing that he was awaited was rainfall, and in this hope he spent an entire morning gazing at the sky in the northeast direction, from where a drizzle was expected to shower on his field. Lencho, while looking at the sky, confidently tells his wife that they are going to have a rain shower, and the lady replies, "Yes, God willing." Their elder children were working at the field, and the younger ones were playing near the house, when Lencho's wife calls everyone for dinner. "Come for dinner." It's during that time drops of rain began to fall, hereby proving the farmer's prediction to be true. The wind was pleasant, and the clouds could be seen approaching from the northeast sky. Lencho goes out of the house to take pleasure in feeling the droplets on his body. He refers to the drizzle as "quints," the large droplets equal to 10 cents and the smaller ones 5 cents. Why? Because these raindrops would ensure a good crop which would eventually get them a lot of money. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. This is on unexpectedly. Strong wind started blowing, leading to a hailstorm. The innocent boys became playful, and they went out in the rain to play and collected these hailstones which looked like frozen pearls. The farmer now starts worrying and hopes that the storm gets over quickly. The hailstones covered the entire valley, including the house, garden, hillsides, and the cornfield. It made everything look so white that it seemed as if it was covered in salt. Lencho became stressed and disappointed as everything went against the plan. The trees had shed their leaves, cones were smashed, flowers had fallen from their plants. While standing in the withered fields, he conveyed his dismay and sorrow to his sons by commenting that the effect of the storm proved to be worse than that of crop destroying insects. All their hard work had gone in vain. He felt helpless, as no corn had been left, and they might have to starve this time. But after everything had gone southwards, means everything has gone wrong, the family still had hope in their hearts of hearts. They had faith in the Almighty even after nothing was left. They gave each other support, and they recalled a saying which assures that no one ever dies of starvation. He spent his entire night thinking of the only option left, and that was to seek the help of the God. His eyes, his ears, everywhere he had informed that only God will help him. He thought of writing a letter to God conveying his grievances. Despite spending all these years working at the farm, he still knew how to write. He started writing on the Sunday morning and thought of mailing it himself by going to the town. In his letter to God, he wrote, "If you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes." He wrote to God, then at the post office placed the stamp on the letter and dropped it in the mail. A postman, who was also an employee of the post office, noticed Lancho's letter and showed it to the postmaster. They both felt amused, but the postmaster, fat and friendly, immediately developed a sense of seriousness. He was astounded at the amount of faith Lancho has in God. With good intentions, the postmaster read the letter and thought of replying to it so as to keep the writer's belief intact. But the writer expected the reply in a different way that could not be fulfilled with pen, paper, and morals. The farmer had demanded 400 pesos. The postmaster, along with his colleagues and a few friends who were more than willing to donate for a good cause, collected a pool of money to help Lancho. But despite his best efforts, he was only able to collect an amount of 70 pesos. He then addressed it to Lancho along with the letter, which was undersigned by God. Next Sunday, Lancho came, looking for the reply a bit earlier than expected. The postman handed him the letter, waiting to see him joyful and surprised and feeling satisfied by doing this work. On the contrary, the farmer got disheartened on seeing that the money was less than what he asked for. His faith is still undeterred, and he believed that God cannot make such a mistake. On being disappointed, he started looking for ink and paper to write to God again. While writing, his eyebrows get curled out of the concentration with which he was drafting a new request. On completing, he affixed it with a stamp. As soon as he dropped it into the mailbox, the postmaster took it out to read it. Lancho complained that he had only received 70 pesos and he is really in need of the remaining amount. He doubted the integrity and honesty of the post office employees and suggested that the money should not be sent via post office because he doubted that the staff at the post office must have stolen the missing amount. Yeah. Lancho thought that the post office employees had cheated him, so he calls them a bunch of crooks. But they were not crooks, they were kind persons. They wanted to help Lancho, so they collected 70 pesos and sent the money to Lancho by mail. Letter to God by G.L.FUENTES shows three things. First, it shows Lancho's firm faith in God. His faith is rewarded through the helpers who are human beings. Secondly, it shows the utter innocence of the farmer Lancho. Thirdly, the lesson gives a message that sometimes even your generosity is not recognized. You may not get any credit for your generosity and kindness, but on the other hand, you may be misunderstood as a bunch of crooks. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.